ValveTime.net.
Hi, and welcome to the ValveTime News. Each week we'll bring you the biggest talking points regarding Valve and the community. Now the news. This past week brought about some very good news for many international Steam users, as a post over on the Steamworks community group finally elaborated on the variety of new currencies set to be added to the platform, after originally being revealed all the way back at the Steam Dev Days conference in January 2014. The post also discussed the newly added Japanese yen, which was introduced in late August. A list included within the post showed the 12 upcoming currencies set to be introduced, including the Indonesian rupiah, the Malaysian ringgit, the Philippine peso, the Singapore dollar, the Thai baht, the Australian, New Zealand, and Canadian dollars, the Norwegian krone, the South Korean won, the Turkish lira, and the Mexican peso. As you will have noticed by the list currently being shown on screen, each of these new currencies will be introduced in chronological order throughout September and October 2014, meaning a whole bunch of Steam's international users should no longer have to resort to using foreign currency such as the US dollar, the euro, or the Great British Pound in order to purchase games from the Steam store. While this obviously doesn't cover the entire world, it most likely a very welcome addition to those living in the affected country. The Steamworks group post also features some useful information developers will want to check out, including some tips on how to ensure your product is available for purchase in the listed regions and how to modify in-game microtransactions to appropriately reflect the new currencies. While the new currencies are still a week or two away, they aren't the only Steam news happening right now, as a new Steam Client Beta update released on Wednesday introduced some exciting new functionality. The most interesting new features lie within Steam Music, as the built-in music player will now keep queues and playlists persistent between sessions, allowing you to sign in and out of Steam without fear of losing your setup. A new announcement post also discussed Steam soundtracks, as Steam Music is now able to automatically scan files within game directories, allowing it to locate and identify purchased game soundtracks before automatically creating playlists for them. This change is a little more welcome than some of you may think, as users who purchase soundtracks on Steam were previously required to hunt through the game files themselves in order to find them, something that is no longer necessary. Several minor visual improvements were also made to Steam Music, including displaying attached album covers to playlists and queues. This week's update didn't focus entirely on Steam Music, however, as in-home streaming also received a few important tweaks. As promised a while ago, in-home streaming sessions can now be hosted from Linux computers, leaving Mac OS X as the only platform that continues to lack this functionality for the time being. Performance improvements also continued to be introduced this past week, as both AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards received additional hardware encoding support, something you can learn more about over on the update changelog. If you want to take part in the Steam Client Beta, select the appropriate option from the Beta Participation drop-down box within the Account page of the Steam settings. The Techies were finally unleashed into Dota 2 on Thursday of this week after being fully unveiled in their respective update last Friday evening. The Techies update featured more or less everything we mentioned on last week's show, alongside a few important bug fixes and cosmetic item sets which were progressively released to the test client over the weekend and first few days of this week, before being snuck into the main client alongside the update itself. There's not much more to say about Dota 2 this week other than to go out there and enjoy some delightful explosives. Returning viewers from last week may remember how we spoke about the recent legal case between Valve and the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. Well, it turns out it isn't all bad blood between Valve and the rest of Australia, as the PC version of Left 4 Dead 2 was finally uncensored within the country. At the game's launch in 2009, Australian gamers were vocally frustrated about the game's censored content, which included a lack of blood and quickly disappearing zombie corpses. The game has now been re-evaluated following the introduction of an R18+ rating in Australia. While the previous uncensored version of the game was banned, the game has now been provided the new adult-only rating, listing the game as featuring high-impact violence, blood, and gore, which definitely describes the Left 4 Dead series pretty well.
This used to be a nice neighborhood!
While this means absolutely nothing for all of us living outside of Australia, this does mean our friends down under will finally be able to experience the full uncensored version of Left 4 Dead 2 legally. This week's update for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, while less substantial than last week, still introduced some important weapon pricing changes and some tweaks to Cobblestone and Dust 2. The popular CZ75 auto pistol has been moved from the same slot as the P250 to the Tech 9/57 slot, while having its price increased to $500. And the money penalty for team killing in official competitive matches has been changed to $300. While Dust 2 received little more than an expanded plant zone at Bomb Site A, much of Cobblestone was changed or adjusted to make it a little easier for the terrorists to attack. Several of these changes include new T-spawn positions on the low ground rather than the battlements, reduced sightlines near Bomb Site B, an all-new flanking route beside the underpass, a dramatic reduction to the overall size of the CT sniping room above the underpass, and a whole lot more, all of which you can read about over on the game's official changelog. After CSGO's copyright scare a little while ago, Valve are trying to ensure the community is aware of how they can create and submit successful weapon finishes. Earlier this week, the game's development team released a new announcement post known as Making Better Designs, a rather lengthy discussion about the various means by which community artists can try and get their creations noticed. The post opens by revealing that the $3 million that has been distributed to contributors so far has averaged to be about $40,000 per weapon. So you can imagine how much active designers could be making by submitting multiple finishes to the Steam Workshop. This post then discusses the various methods contributors should try to apply in order to stand out from the crowd. These include submitting only original designs, creating finishes for less popular weapons, using more varied design techniques, and most importantly, building hype for your creation once it is submitted. While a lot of this may seem like common sense, it's probably worth checking out if you're looking to get in on some of that $3 million contributor pie. While there was no sign of a weekly update for Team Fortress 2, the creators of CP Snowplow for the End of the Line update were hard at work finishing up 2 new versions in the forms of B6 and B7. Despite being less substantial than updates released in previous weeks, versions 6 and 7 still introduced some important changes, including the removal of an instant spawn for red as soon as blue cap a point, some adjustments to red spawn rooms and timing in both stages, and a whole lot more detailing. The current version, B7, is currently being played on TF2Maps.net's EU and US servers, so be sure to head on over and take a look if you're curious about one of TF2's most important up-and-coming maps. While it may seem like Valve have ignored Team Fortress 2 this past week, that isn't entirely the case, as the first few community-created merchandise designs were released onto the We Love Fine website alongside a pre-order for the previously revealed 3-inch vinyl minifigures. The first series of blind box vinyl figures features a total of 15 different variants, including the Scout, Soldier, Pyro, Spy, and Sentry Gun, alongside alternate team-colored versions of each and a few super secret rare versions. The portable mercs will be made available on September 12, 2014 at a price of $10 per figure. The other items released onto We Love Fine include a number of neat t-shirts, mouse pads, and posters, all of which are available via a link in the video description. The new tradition of Source Filmmaker updates introducing brand new content packs continued this past week with the introduction of a Dino D-Day content pack. For now, the Dino D-Day content pack just features all of the weapons and player models from the games, as the sounds, particle effects, and maps are currently missing, unlike so many of the other content packs released thus far. However, it's possible these will be added further down the line following the precedent set this past week with the major update to the Blade Symphony content pack that was originally released several weeks ago. The update added a variety of new maps, props, and music, all of which can now be freely used within the SFM once downloaded. Both packs can be downloaded from within the File menu within the SFM. Just be sure to check both games' respective usage policies before you start using their content in your videos. Once you're done with that, you can go wild and make a T-Rex breakdance in a Japanese temple. If someone can make that happen, send a link to our Facebook page and we'll give you a cookie. Earlier this week, community animator Mag Magnet released her most recent video in the form of Scout's High Silk Hat, a Source Filmmaker recreation of a song from VeggieTales. The 3-minute video provides a fun opportunity to find out how Team Fortress 2 might look if it were presented as a musical about hats, and also features the same wacky, over-the-top Gmod-esque animation style you may remember from Mag Magnet's most famous video, The Advantages of Sandwich, which Valve previously highlighted as a special mention at the 2013 Saxy Awards. If you have 3 minutes or so to spare, give it a look at the end of this episode. Alternatively, if hat-themed musicals aren't really your thing, you may want to check out MarphyBlack's most recent video, which he uses to take a look at the detailed AI nap time behavior exhibited by Half-Life's Houndeyes. In the video, Marphy demonstrates how Houndeyes in groups may decide to doze off while a designated squad leader remains alert to warn his friends of impending danger. We probably made it sound really simple and boring, but the video definitely provides an interesting close-up of AI behavior I'm sure few of us even knew existed, much less noticed in-game. Like all of Marphy's many other informative videos regarding different Half-Life NPCs, we highly recommend checking this one out. And that wraps up another relatively busy week of Valve news. We did promise to have that episode of Database released these past few weeks, but I'm actually going to be recording that right now, so that's going to happen. For now, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and to visit our community forums over on ValveTime.net. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to share our videos with your friends, and to rate our Dota 2 announcer pack positively over on the Steam Workshop. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.